Hello and welcome to another difficulty check. So this was on Game Pass and I decided to check it out. I started on Ultra Nightmare and realized pretty quickly that it was definitely going to be a challenge. I'm glad to let people jump straight into the hardest difficulty and don't hide it behind a playthrough because yeah, I died immediately. But I actually was okay with it because it didn't feel unfair. I knew cover was pretty necessary. I mean, it's an FPS, so most of the time cover is a thing. Now, I will say that enemies are pretty much damage sponges in this, at least from what I saw. However, headshots are still critical, meaning if you can get a good headshot, instant insta-kill. Unless they have armor on their head, then it's not. And of course, bosses aren't instant kills, but they take increased damage at their head. So yeah, headshots are a thing, which means them being damage sponges doesn't really matter if you're a good shot. If you're a terrible shot like me, then you might have to waste a lot of bullets trying to hit their head, because shooting them in the body just isn't worth it. Now, just because enemies are one-shots doesn't really mean much when they have 100% accuracy. The second you pop up, they're on you and ready to shoot you, and when they shoot, they will hit you if you don't have cover. So you have to be very quick about popping up and shooting. You can't actually line up your aim, which is probably why I was so terrible. I did see there were upgrades for your guns and I believe your character and all that, so maybe things get a little easier the further you get and the more upgrades you get. I'm not 100% sure. But as of right now, my fights were taking forever because I had to hide behind cover the whole time, wait for an opportunity to pop up and shoot him in the head, and if I miss, I had to go back down and wait a second for them to stop shooting, and then pop back up, shoot again, miss, and most fights took a good 10-15 minutes to do, because it's just so hard to get a headshot when you're immediately shot when you pop up. I don't know, maybe there's like a health increase, or a shield, or invincibility when you're in overdrive, or increased healing maybe in your overdrive, I'm not 100% sure. But, speaking of overdrive, when the tutorial popped up for it, and it said just activate your overdrive and jump into battle. I was like, okay, cool. It's going to have a super high health regen or something, or going to be invincible. And I did that, jumped in, and died immediately. So I learned very quickly, overdrive does not make you unkillable. The tutorial didn't take me long because it's a tutorial, so of course they make it a lot easier than everything else in the game. But that took me a little bit, I will say, because I was still learning the game, messing up buttons, accidentally throwing grenades when I was trying to reload, and a bunch of other things. But once I made it past that, I immediately ran into the big old sentry bot guy, and I tried beating him, but decided to give up when it went to the second phase, whatever that was, where it sends out a big pulse, because it just kept one-shotting me, so I wasn't sure what to do after that. And then I made my way to a camp of enemies, and this is where I realized that I was not ready to take on camps of enemies, because I died a lot, and I kept running out of ammo because I was missing my headshots. I think I got them down to 2 or 3 guys once, and then I died. So I decided to just continue with the story and leave that for later. I went for the one that takes you down to the sewers, which might have been a bad idea. I don't know if that's the harder out of the 3, I think, quests there are. But I got the shotgun, and I met a new enemy, which is terrifying, because they will book it at you, and 2 slashes will kill you. So that means if 2 jump at you at once, you're dead. I pretty much used nothing but the shotgun when I was down in the sewers. I stuck to the shotgun because when you're aiming down sights, it has sort of a really big knockback, which keeps them at bay. And if you knock them down, you can just pull out a different gun and shoot them, which I didn't do. I pretty much stuck with the shotgun the whole time because they're scary. Not because they're scary looking or anything like that. It's just due to the fact that they can one-shot you, and there's a bunch of them and they're crawling walls and stuff like that. Out of the tutorial, the camp of enemies and the sentry bot, the slashy boys were definitely the scariest part for me, and the hardest part, because they're just all over the place, and if you miss one shot, you're probably dead. Where the other one, you at least can hide behind cover so you don't get shot and blasted with a bunch of bullets. With these slashy boys, you have to be accurate, very accurate. Luckily, headshots don't matter with the shotgun, so you can kind of blast them away. Well, actually, it kind of does. But you can blast them away and then line up your shot easier. But when there's like 10 of them, that's kind of tough. After all those enemies, I finally made it to the boss, and I will say I cheesed the boss pretty hard. I found a spot where I could shoot him, and if I did it right, he wouldn't be able to hit me. So I could just aim at his head the whole time, which, as you can see right now, that's very cheesy. Luckily, the game got its revenge after the boss for me cheesing him, because this next part, I tried a bunch of different ways of doing this. You have to activate 3 different switches, or 2 switches and a valve, I guess. I tried killing the ones that spawned right after the boss, and then I tried killing the ones right after each switch, but I kept dying, so I formed a new strategy, and it's just called Run for Your Life, because that's all I did. Second I killed the boss, I ran upstairs, hit the switch, jumped, dashed over the other one, hit that switch, ran around for a second for the valve to be active, jumped down there, activated the valve, and then ran out to the elevator. That's all I did. I fought nothing down there on the one where I live because there's just too many. I got lucky though, I know that. Now, although I had some fun with this game, I gotta say I don't think this difficulty is for me, unfortunately. I kind of just feel like I grew out of FPS difficulties because it's always usually the same thing. I mean, this can be said for RPGs too, but for FPS, it's usually just pinpoint accuracy on the enemies, like they can target you so quick, and damage sponges. Even with the headshots in this, I don't know, it just doesn't really do it for me. But I can say, for people that like FPS games and harder difficulties, this is a good one. I feel like they would really like this because it's definitely a challenge. And if you're amazing at headshots, this game will be no problem for you. Just get them headshots and you're good. The melee enemies and the enemies with armor can be very scary, but like I said, I'm gonna guess once you get the upgrades, it'll probably make this a bit easier. I should check the upgrades, but I'm gonna guess it's gonna get a little easier once you start upgrading your character. So yeah, I can recommend this to anyone who has played Rage 2 and liked it and just hasn't actually tried Ultra Nightmare, and anyone who really likes FPS games. As long as you don't mind like hiding from bullets, running for your life from slashy boys, and you're a headshot master, then, you know, they shouldn't be all that bad for you. Thanks for watching this difficulty check for Rage 2.